What is up, guys? Welcome back to another video. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can automate a consulting firm using make.com. Let's get started. The first process that we're going to automate for a consulting firm is capturing leads via a type form and adding the leads to a project management tool, which in this case we're going to use monday.com. We're going to capture the leads from lead magnets, ads, referrals, or affiliates and add those leads to monday.com by setting up a simple automation on make.com. Now, on Typeform, we're also going to ask the leads to schedule a discovery call so we can see if we can help them. After we've captured the leads and added them to monday.com, we're going to send them a confirmation email confirming that we got the information and that they scheduled a discovery call with us. The next process that we're going to automate is a client onboarding process. We're going to set up automated workflows to send a welcome email, a folder for them to upload all the necessary documents, a link to schedule a meeting to get started, and a client's channel on Slack for communication purposes. After automating the client onboarding process, the next process that we're going to automate is the invoicing and payment process. Where here, we're going to create an automation that automates invoice generation, payment reminders, and payment tracking on Stripe. After automating the invoicing and payment process, the next process that we're going to automate is a proposal and contract generation. We're going to automate the generation of custom proposal and contract on PandaDoc, and then also going to send the proposal and contract to our client for them to sign it. The next process that we're going to automate for a consulting firm is the internal communication process. I'm going to create a new Slack channel and send invites to the team members and create a welcome message. And the next process that we're going to automate for a consulting firm is the progress tracking process, where here I'm going to automate the progress updates and reports to keep the client informed about the project status and send reminders for upcoming deadlines. The next process that we're going to automate is the content scheduling process, where here I'm going to create an automation that schedules social media posts on social media platforms, ensuring a consistent online presence for your consulting firm. And the last process that we're going to automate for a consulting firm is the client offboarding process, where here I'm going to create an automation that automatically sends a follow-up email after the project has been completed to check in with the client, send a project wrap-up document, send a closing call, scheduling link, and a final billing invoice. So these are all the processes that I'm going to show you how you can automate for a consulting firm. We're going to start by creating an automation that captures the leads via Typeform and adds the leads to our monday.com. On Monday, I've created a board and renamed it to consulting firm. So here is where we're going to be collecting our consulting clients. On our board, we are collecting our client's full name. We are assigning the clients to one of our team members. We're also collecting the date we created them, the last time we updated them, and their status. And on status, we have intake, onboard, send invoice, send proposal, team notification, kickoff update, mid-phase update, completed, final update, and client offboarding as the status of each of our clients that we're going to add to our board. We're also collecting their first name, last name, company name, email, and their phone number. On Typeform, I've created a form that I've renamed to Consulting Firm Lead Capture Form. On this form, we're going to collect our leads' personal information. So we're going to collect their first name, last name, phone number, email, and their company name. We're also going to ask our leads to schedule a discovery call to see if we can help them. All this information that we're going to collect from Typeform, we're going to add that information right here on monday.com by creating an automation on make.com. On Make, I've created a folder and renamed the folder to Consulting Firm Automation System. So here, I'm going to create our first scenario. So I'm going to click on Create a New Scenario. Add clients info to monday.com via Typeform. And here, I'm going to search for Typeform and I'm going to add watch response as our trigger. Now you can either choose the watch response that has the RSeed or the one that has instant. The difference between the two, the one that has RSeed, you'll need to choose when you like to trigger your automation. But the one that has the instant, it instantly triggers after the form has been submitted. So since I would like to choose where to start, I'm going to choose the watch response with the RSeed only. Here, you'll need to create a connection between make.com and Typeform. To do that, just click on Add, and then here you'll rename your connection, and then click on Save. A new window will be prompted. Here you'll choose the account that you'd like to link to make.com. But since I had already created a connection, I'm going to close this window and choose my connection right here. The next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to find our form. On type form, our form is called consulting form lead capture form. So here, I'm going to search for our form and then click on OK. You can see that here it's asking us to choose where we'd like to start. So here we can choose either from now, since a specific date, all, or choose manually. I'll choose to start from now, then click on OK. The next thing I'll do here is I'll list our responses that we are going to get from Typeform. But before that, on tools, I'm going to search for the sleep module. And then here, we're going to delay for 3 seconds, and then click on OK. And then on Typeform, I'm going to search for list responses module. And then here, I'll still choose our form. And then for the limit, I'm going to limit it as 1, then click on OK. Now, let us fill in our form and see if we're going to get our responses right here. So on Typeform, I'll click on share. I'm going to copy the link of our form and paste the link to a new tab. Here, I'll click on start to fill in our form. Here, I'll add the personal information for a lead. We can add their first name as Peter. The last name we can say Kim. Now their phone number and their email address right here. So we can say the email address is peterkim@annex.com. And the company that they work in is Annex. And then click on OK. And here we can schedule a discovery call on our calendar. For example, let's say we'd like to schedule a call on a Sunday at 1. You can see the details of our lead. You can see their name, email address right here. Now, to schedule our event, I'm going to click on schedule event. Now, our event has been scheduled, and off I'm saying thank you for taking the time to complete this form. Check out your email for a confirmation. Let us run automation and see if we're going to get our lead right here. So I'll run automation. So here, you can see we're getting our lead right here. You can see their first name, last name, phone number, email, the company they work in, and the event that they just scheduled on our calendar right here. And we're delaying for 3 seconds and listing those responses on our list response module right here. After listing the responses, we can add our lead right here to Monday. So I'll search for Monday, then I'll search for create an item module and click on create an item. Here, you'll need to create a connection between monday.com and make.com just by clicking on add, and then here, name your connection and add your API key right here. To get your API key from Monday, just click on your profile, then click on administration, then click on connection, and then API, and you'll find the API token right here. So all you have to do is just copy it and paste it right here, and then click on save to create your connection. But since I already created a connection, I'm going to close it and choose my connection right here. Now we can add our item name. For the item name, I'm going to add the first and last name of our lead. So in this case, I'm going to add Peter, and then space, and then add Kim. And then for the board ID, I'm going to choose consulting firm as our board ID. For the group ID, I'm going to choose consulting clients. And now we can add the column values that we'd like to add to the columns on Monday. Now here, I'll click on add an item and choose a column. The first column is going to be assignee. Here I'm going to choose a person. I'm going to assign Joe to this lead. Then I'll click on add another item and choose a different column. This time around, I'm going to choose company name. Yeah, I'm going to add the value of the company, which in this case is Annex right here. Then I'll add a new item, choose a column, and then I'll choose the date created column. And then I'll add the date as a submitted add date. And then I'll choose a new column. And then I'll choose email as a column, and I'll add the value for the email as the email our lead submitted. So I'll choose peterkim@annex.com as the email. We can also choose the email as to represent the text. So I'll choose the email value. And I'll add a new item, and then I'll choose a new column. This time around, I'm going to choose first name as our column. And then here, I'll add the value for the first name, which is Peter, right here. And then add a new item and choose last name as our column. And here I'll choose Kim as our last name value. And here I'll add a new item. And then for the column, I'll choose phone number. And then here we can add the value for phone number, which is the phone number for Peter. And then here we can add our country code, which is US in this case. Lastly, we can choose a new column. This time around, we're going to choose status. Then we're going to pick a label. and label it to intake, and then click on OK. Since we already have a submission, I'm not going to repeat the process of submitting our form again. But so here, I'm going to choose where to start. And I'm going to choose from our previous submission, which is this submission right here. Then I'll click on OK. And now let us add Peter to our Monday.com CRM. I'll run automation. Our automation ran successfully. And we added our lead to Monday.com. On Monday, we have a new client right here we just added. His name is Peter Kim. We just added them today, just now. Their status is intake. Here's their first name, last name, company name, email, and their phone number. We added our new lead to Monday using this simple automation on make.com. Now, we can proceed to send them a confirmation email. So here, I'll search for email and then click on send an email module. I'll rename this email to confirmation email. Then click on OK. For the email address, we'll add the email address the client just submitted on our form. And then the subject line of our email could be on the lines of discovery call confirmed, looking forward to connecting. Then the content of the email that we are sending to our lead could be on the lines of hi, first name. So here we can add their first name, which in this case it's going to be Peter. And the rest of the email could be on the lines of thank you for filling out our form and scheduling a discovery call with us. We're excited to learn more about your needs and explore how our consulting services can support your goals. During the call, we'll discuss your challenges, goals, and any initial insights we can share to help you make informed decisions. If you have any questions before our call, feel free to reply to this email or contact us at, and then we're adding our phone number. We're concluding our email by saying, looking forward to connecting soon. Best regards, Jane Smith, Client Success Manager at Lux Consulting. So this could be the confirmation email that we are sending to our lead after they have submitted their form and scheduled a call with us. To send them the confirmation email on Monday, I'll delete Peter right here. Click on delete. And then on our watch response module, I'll choose to start from our previous submission, which was Peter, then click on OK. Then now here, I'll run out. But automation ran successfully. Here we got our lead who submitted their form. We listed the response right here. We added them to Monday and we sent them the confirmation email with the subject line, discovery call confirmed, looking forward to connecting. And this is the content of the email that we are sending to our lead after they have submitted their form. And on Monday, you can see we just added them to our Monday CRM right here. So with this simple automation, we've automated the first process for our consulting firm, where we are capturing the leads via Typeform and adding the leads to Monday.com and sending them the confirmation email. Now let us automate the second process for consulting firm, which is the client onboarding process. On our consulting firm automation system folder, I'll click on create a new scenario. Rename our scenario to client onboarding system. So here, I'll create a webhook that is triggered after one of our client status changes to onboard. So here, I'll search for webhooks, then click on custom webhook. Then here I'll click on add. Then I'll rename our webhook to client onboarding. Then click on save. And here I'll copy the link of our webhook. Then click on OK. Then on Monday, I'll click on integrate. Here I'll click on webhooks. Then I'd like to send a webhook after one of our status changes to something. So I'll use this as our template. Then here I'll use another account and paste the webhook URL that we just copied from our webhook right here. I'll run our webhook. Then on Monday, I'll click on connect. It says failed to communicate with the URL provided. So here, we need to return this challenge text using a webhook response. So here, I'll search for webhooks and click on webhook response. Then here, I'll return this challenge text. So I'll add two curly braces. And here, I'll write challenge. Then add this text right here, then click on OK. Now I'll run our webhook again. And then on Monday, I'll click on connect. And then here you can see that now it ran successfully. So I'll delete the response and create our webhook. So here, I like to send a webhook when the status changes to onboard. And then here I'll click on create automation. Now let us test our webhook if it's working properly. So I'll run our webhook. And then here, I'll change the status of one of our clients to onboard. You can see that it ran successfully. And we are getting the specific client whose status we just changed. But we are now getting the rest of their data, like their email, phone number, first and last name of the company they work in. So to get the rest of the information, I'll copy this pulse ID. And then here, I'll search for Monday and then search for get an item module. and click on get an item. I'll click on our connection, and then for the ID, I'm going to add Pulse ID. And for the board ID, I'll add consulting firm as our board ID, then click on OK. Then I'll run this module by pasting the Pulse ID that we just copied from our webhook and click on OK. You can see right here now we're getting the rest of their data. So we're getting their first name, last name, company name, email, and their phone number. On our client onboarding process, we're going to automate the process of creating a folder that they are going to upload the necessary documents to. We're also going to create a scheduling link and send it to them, then to schedule a kickoff meeting. And we're also going to create a Slack channel that we're going to use to communicate with this particular client. So here, we're going to start by creating a folder that they're going to send all the necessary documents to. So here, I'll search for Google Drive. Then on Google Drive, I'll click on create a folder. Our drive location is going to be on my drive. And then here, we are going to choose a folder. We can choose to add a folder to our homepage. Then we can give our folder a name. And we can give our folder the full name of our client. I'll rename this module to clients folder. And then click on OK. Now the next thing we can do is we can send them a Calendly link for them to schedule for a kickoff call meeting. So I'll search for Calendly and click on Calendly, and then click on create a scheduling link. Here for the maximum event count, we're going to add 1. Then for the event type, I'm going to choose kickoff call, then click on OK. I'll rename this module to schedule kickoff call. Then click on OK. And lastly, we can create a Slack channel that we're going to use as a communication tool with our client. So I'll search for Slack. And then on Slack, I'm going to click on create a channel. We can name our channel the first name of our client. Then click on OK. We can send them the link to our folder and the scheduling link via email. So here I'll search for email, then click on send an email module. I'll rename this email to onboarding email. And then I'll click on OK. The email address, we're going to add the email address of our client from Monday. So I'm going to add our email address for here. The subject line of our email could be on the lines of welcome to Lax Consulting. Next step for a successful start. Then the content of our email that we're going to send to our client could be on the lines of hi, first name. And we're going to add their first name right here. And then the content of the email could be on the lines of welcome aboard. We are thrilled to officially start our journey together. To ensure we hit the ground running, here's the next step to get everything set up smoothly. The first thing is the Google Drive folder. And then we're telling them I've created a Google Drive folder where you can upload the required documents for projects. And then here we're telling them you can access the Google Drive here. And here we're going to add the link to our Google Drive. We'll add the web view link of our folder. This is the link that they're going to use to upload all the necessary documents on Google Drive. Then we're telling them once the documents are in place, we'll begin preparing for the next phase. Then the next thing that we are sending them is a kickoff call link. And we're telling them, I've also set up a link for you to schedule our kickoff call at your convenience. You can book a time that works best for you via this Calendly link here. And then we're going to add our booking URL over here. And then the rest of the email we're saying during this call, we'll go over the project goals, timelines, and any additional details to ensure alignment moving forward. And the third item is a Slack channel, where we're telling them for easy communication, I've set up a dedicated Slack channel where we'll collaborate through the project. This will be our main hub for updates, quick questions, and ongoing discussions. And then we're concluding the email by saying, if you have any questions or need assistance getting set up, feel free to reach out anytime. We're here to make this process as smooth as possible for you. Looking forward to our kickoff call and an exciting partnership ahead. Best regards, Jane Smith. And I'll click on OK. To test if automation works properly, I'll run automation. Then on Monday, I'll change the status of one of our clients to onboard. That automation ran successfully. Here, we triggered automation after we changed the status of one of our clients to onboard. Then we got their data right here. We went ahead and created our client's folder right here. And then we created a scheduling link for a kickoff call. And we sent the client the folder and the scheduling link via this email right here. Email is with the subject line, welcome to Lax Consulting. Next step for a successful start. And this is the content of the email that we are sending to our client right here. So we are sending them the Google Drive folder link, which is this link over here. And we are sending them the kickoff call link that they're going to use to schedule for a kickoff call, which is this link right here. This simple automation, we've automated the client onboarding process for a consulting firm. The next process that we're going to automate is the invoicing and payment process. Automate the invoicing and payment process on our consulting firm automation system. I'll click on create a new scenario. I'll rename our scenario to Invoicing and Payment Processing Automation. And on this automation, I'll create a webhook that is triggered after one of our client's status changes to send invoice. So here, I'll search for webhooks, then click on Custom Webhook. Here, I'll click on Add. Then I'll rename our webhook to Invoicing and Payment Webhook, then click on Save. Here, I'll copy the link of our webhook, then click on OK. Run our webhook. Then on Monday, I'll click on Integrate, then click on Webhooks. I'd like to send our webhook when the status of one of our clients changes to something, so I'll use this as our template. Then here, I'll choose another account and paste the URL that we just copied right here. Then here, I'll click on Connect. It says fail to communicate with the URL provided. That means we'll need to return using a webhook response so we can connect our webhook URL on Monday. So on webhooks, I'll click on webhook response. Then here, I'll have to call it braces. And here I'll write challenge. And here I'll return this text for here and then click on OK. Now I'll run our webhook again. Then on Monday, I'll click on connect. You can see now that it ran successfully. You can delete the response and then set up our webhook. So I'd like to send our webhook when the status of one of our clients changes to send invoice. Then click on create automation. Now let us test if our webhook works properly. So I'll run our webhook. Then I'll change the status of one of our clients to send invoice. You can see that it ran successfully and we're getting the specific client whose status we just changed. Here, we are now getting the rest of their data, like their email, their phone number, their first and last name, or the company they work in. To get the rest of their data, I'll copy this pulse ID on our webhook. Then on Monday, I'll search for get an item module and click on get an item. I'll choose our connection. Then for the ID, I'm going to add our pulse ID. Then for the board ID, I'm going to choose consulting firm as our board ID. Then click on OK. Here, I'll run our Monday module by pasting our pulse ID right here and clicking on OK. And now you can see that we're getting the rest of their data right here. We're getting their first and last name, company name, their email, and their phone number right here. I'm going to use Stripe as our payment provider. So here, I'll search for Stripe. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create our customer on Stripe. So here, I'll create a customer. I'm going to use their email. So here, we can add their description. We can say consulting services. Then we can add their email address right here. The email address, we're going to get it from Monday. Right here, we can add their name. Say Peter. You can add their phone number right here. You can add also the address, the shipping address, but I'm going to click on OK for now. After creating our customer, I'm going to create a payment intent for our customer. Now, here we can add the amount that we are charging them. Let's say we're charging them $2,000. Now, one thing you need to note is that the amount that you add right here will be in cents. Now, to convert this amount into dollars, we need to add 2 extra zeros right here. So the 200,000 right here represents $2,000. For the currency, we are using USD as our currency. You can add the description as consulting services. Then we can add the recipient email. Here you can confirm this payment intent immediately by choosing yes, no, or empty. I'm going to leave it as empty. Only add our customer ID from our create a customer module, choose a payment method, but I'm just going to leave it as is. Then after creating our payment intent, we can now create an invoice. So here, I'm going to search for create an invoice module. Create an invoice. I'll first of all choose our customer ID. So our customer ID, we're going to get our customer ID from our create a customer module. Here I'll choose our collection method. You can either choose to charge automatically or to send an invoice. If you're going to choose send an invoice, you'll need to add days until due. So here you can add 3 days. For example, you can also add the due date and the description. The description, we can add consulting services. You can add the subscription ID, but I'm going to just choose to leave it as is. And now here, we can now send our client this Stripe invoice via email. So here I'll search for email, then click on send an email module. Here we can rename this module as email. Then click on OK. For the email address, we're going to add the email address of our client from Monday here. So this will be the email address. The subject line could be on the lines of your invoice from Lax Consulting. And then the content of the email that we're sending them, we can say hi, first name. Attach is your invoice for our services. You can easily make a payment using the Stripe link below. And then here we can add the link for invoice. So we're going to get our invoice from the create an invoice module. And we can add this invoice URL right here. The rest of the email could be on the lines of, please let us know if you have any questions or if anything needs clarification. We are here to assist with anything you might need. Thank you for your prompt attention to this. We look forward to continuing our work together. Best regards, Jane. And then here we're going to click on OK. Now, we can also set up a payment reminder. So after the due date has passed and the client hasn't yet cleared the invoice, we can choose to send them an email reminder reminding them to pay their invoice. I'll search for Stripe, then I'll search for invoice right here, and click on search and invoice module. Here we'll still add our customer ID from our create a customer module. The status of the invoice should be open, and here we can choose our collection method. Let's say charge automatically. You can limit it to 1, and then here I'm going to click on OK. I'm going to send them an email reminder reminding them to clear the invoice. So here I'll rename this email to payment reminder, and then click on OK. Content of the email that we're sending to our client could be on the lines of, I hope you're doing well. I wanted to follow up regarding the outstanding invoice for your project, which was due yesterday. So we're going to send this email 1 day after the due date. So it looks like the payment has not been received yet. So for your convenience, here's the link to the invoice. And then we here write the invoice link that we just searched from our search invoice module. So I'm going to add our invoice URL over here. Then the rest of the email could be on the lines of, please submit the payment at your earliest convenience to avoid any delays in our work together. If you have already made the payment, please disregard this email. Feel free to reach out if you have any questions or need assistance. Thank you for your prompt attention to this matter. Best regards. Here, we can set up a filter to avoid these emails from being sent at the same time. We'll label our filter to payment reminder. And then the first condition, we're going to say that the amount due has to exist. Instead of equal to, I'll click on exists. And we can set up another filter that says we're going to send this email 1 day after the due date. So here we can say date should equal to, and then on the date and time, we're going to click on add days. Here, instead of now, I'm going to add due date. Then we're going to send this email 1 day after the due date. And then here I'm going to click on OK. Now to test if automation works perfectly, I'll run our automation here. On Monday, I'll change the status of one of our clients to send invoice. You can see right here that automation ran successfully. We triggered our webhook after we changed the status of one of our clients to send invoice. Then here we're getting the data. We're using the data to create the client on Stripe. Then we're creating the payment intent and creating an invoice and sending the invoice to our client via this email right here. The email has a subject line as your invoice from Lax Automation. And then here, you can see that we're not sending the payment reminder email with the invoice email. We're going to wait until the due date has passed. And if they would not have cleared the invoice, we're going to send them this payment reminder email right here. So with this simple automation, we have automated the invoicing and payment process for a consulting firm. The next process that we're going to automate for a consulting firm is a proposal and contract process, where we're going to generate a custom proposal and contract using Pandadoc and sending to our clients via email for them to sign. System folder, I'll click on create a new scenario. And here, I'll rename our scenario to create and send a proposal and a contract automation. Here, I'll create a webhook that is triggered after the status of one of our clients changes to send proposal. I'll search for webhook and click on custom webhook. Here, I'll click on add, then I'll rename our webhook to proposal and contract webhook and click on save. Then I'll copy the link of our webhook and click on OK. On Monday, I'll click on integrate. Here, I'll click on webhooks. I like to send a webhook after the status of one of our clients changes to something, so I'll use this as our template. Here, I'll choose another account. Then here we'll paste the webhook URL that we just copied. Then on automation, here I'll run our webhook. Then on Monday, I'll click on connect. And see it says failed to communicate with the URL provided. So on May, we'll need to return this challenge text right here. So here I'll search for webhooks, then click on webhook response. Here I'll have to calibrate says right challenge. And then here I'll add this text right here and click on OK. Now I'll run our webhook again. Then on Monday, I'll click on connect. You can see that it ran successfully. So here I'll delete the response. And then on Monday, I'll set up our webhook. So I like to send our webhook when the status of one of our clients changes to send proposal. And here I'll click on create automation. Now let us test our webhook if it's working properly. So I'll run our webhook. Then on Monday, I'll change the status of one of our clients to send proposal. It ran successfully. And we are getting the specific client whose status we just changed. But we're not getting the rest of their data like their email address, their phone number, the company they're working, or their first or last name. Now to get the rest of their data, I'll copy this pulse ID on our webhook, and then on Monday, I'll search for get an item module and click on get an item. I'll choose our connection. Then for the ID, I'm going to add our pulse ID right here. Then for the board ID, I'm going to choose consulting firm, then click on OK. Now to run this module, I'll run it by pasting our pulse ID that we just copied right on our webhook and click on OK. Now you can see we're getting the rest of their data right here. So we're getting their first and last name, company name, email, and their phone number. Now with their data, we can get the proposal and the contract that we created on PandaDoc and send it to them via email for them to sign. I use PandaDoc to create our contract and proposal. On PandaDoc, I created this consulting proposal for Parker Marketing Agency. So the proposal contains a cover letter, executive summary, client testimonials, scope of work, terms and pricing, terms and conditions, then sign off and acceptance. So here's where we're going to add our signature, and Emily is going to add their signature right here. Emily is our client in this example. So we're going to get this proposal and send it to our client via email. To get our proposal, I'll search for PandaDoc, and here I'll get a document. Now, like we did previously with other modules, we need to create a connection between make.com and PandaDoc. To do that, just click on add, then rename your connection right here and click on save. And a new window will be prompted where you'll choose a specific account that you'd like to connect on Make. Now, since I'd already created a connection, I'm going to close this and then choose my connection right here. Now here we'll need to add our document ID. To get our proposal's document ID, we're going to get the ID from our URL. On our URL right here, we'll need to copy the last part of our link. That will be the unique ID to this document. So all you have to do is just copy the unique ID and then on Make, paste the document ID right here, then click on OK. Now we can run this module and see if we're going to get our document. So you can see we're getting our consulting proposal right here. So we can rename this module to get proposal. Now with our proposal right here, we can download it. So here on PandaDoc, I'm going to search for download a document. And here, the document ID, I'm going to add the ID of our consulting proposal document. Then click on OK. And here I'll rename it to download proposal. Now, we're going to use the same process to get our contract. I've also created our consulting contract right here. Our consulting contract has engagement, terms, compensation and payment, independent contractor, audit, confidentiality, intellectual property rights, representation and warranties, insurance safety, publicity acceptance, termination, liability and indemnification, miscellaneous, and the sign off right here. And here's where we're going to add our signature, and our client is going to add their signature right here. To get our consulting contract on Make, I'll search for PandaDoc, and then here I'll get a document. And then for the document ID, I'm going to get the document ID of our consulting contract from our URL. So on our URL right here, I'm going to copy the last part of our URL, which will be the unique ID to this document. So I'll copy it, and then on Make, I'll paste our ID right here, then click on OK. Now let's see if we're going to get our contract. So I'll run this module, and you can see we're getting our consulting contract right here. So I'll rename this to get contract, then click on OK. And then here, I'll download our contract so we can send it to our client via email. So on PandaDoc, I'll click on download a document. And for document ID, I'm going to add the document ID for our consulting contract and click on OK. Here, I'll rename it to download contract and then click on OK. We can send our client the proposal and contract via email for them to sign. So here, I'll search for email, then click on send an email module. I'll rename our module to send documents email, then click on OK. For email address, we're going to add our email address from Monday. So on Monday, I'll click on email and add the email address of our client right here. The subject line of our email could be on the lines of your contract and proposal from Lax Consulting. And then the content of the email could be on the lines of hi, first name. As discussed, I'm excited to share the contract and proposal for upcoming project. You can access both documents via the links below. The first one will be the proposal. These outlines the scope of work, timelines, and deliverables we'll be working on together. And here we can add the proposal link. Now, the proposal link, we're going to get it from the download a document module. We're going to add the file name right here. The second one will be the contract. We're saying this formalizes our agreement and contains all the necessary terms for our collaboration. And here we're adding the contract. Now, the contract, we're going to get it from the download the contract module. So here I'll add its file name right here. And then the rest of the email could be on the lines of, please take some time to review both documents. If everything looks good, you can sign the contract electronically and send it back to me. If you have any questions or any clarifications, feel free to reach out. I'm happy to help. Looking forward to moving forward together. Best regards, Jane. Now, let us test if automation works properly. So here, I'll run automation. Then on Monday, I'll change the status of one of our clients to send proposal. You can see that automation ran successfully. So we triggered our webhook after we changed the status of one of our clients to send proposal. And we got their data right here. We got our proposal and downloaded it using this module right here. We also got our contract and downloaded it using this module right here. And then we sent both the downloaded proposal and the downloaded contract to our client using this email right here. The email has the subject line, your contract and proposal from Lax Consulting. And then the content of the email is on the lines of, hi, first name. We're getting the PDF of the proposal. And then here is a consulting contract PDF right here that we are sending to our client via this email over here. With this simple automation that we just created, we have automated the proposal and we have automated the generation of a proposal and contract and sending it to our client via email. So we have automated we have automated the generation of a proposal and contract for a consulting firm, and we are sending the proposal and contract to our client via email for them to sign. The next process that we're going to automate for consulting firm is a team notification process. Here we're going to create an automation that automatically notifies our team of a new client and a new project on Slack using preset messages. On our consulting firm automation system folder, I'll click on create a new scenario. Yeah, I'll rename our scenario to team notification automation. I'll create a webhook that is triggered after the status of one of our clients changes to team notifications. I'll search for webhooks and click on custom webhook. And then here I'll click on add. I'll rename our webhook to team notification. Then click on save. Then I'll copy the URL of our webhook and click on OK. Then on Monday, I'll click on integrate. And here I'll click on webhooks. And here I like to send a webhook after the status of one of our clients changes to something. So I'll use this as our template. Then here I'll use another account and paste the webhook URL that we just copied from our webhook. Yeah, I'll run our webhook. Then on Monday, I'll click on connect. Here it says fail to communicate with the URL provided. We'll need to connect our URL by returning this challenge text right here using a webhook response. So on webhook, I'll click on webhook response. And then here, I'll add two curly braces and then I'll write challenge right here. Then add the challenge text and click on OK. So it ran successfully. Now we can delete the response and then set up a webhook. So we'd like to send a webhook when the status of our client changes to team notification. Click on create automation. Let us test if our webhook works properly. So I'll run our webhook. And then on Monday, I'll change the status of one of our clients to team notifications. Here, you can see that it ran successfully. And we're getting the specific client whose status we just changed. But we're not getting the rest of the information like their phone number, email, company they work in, so all their first or last name. Now to get the rest of their data, I'll copy this pulse ID right here. And on Monday, I'll search for get an item module. And for the ID, we're going to add our pulse ID. And then for the board ID, I'm going to choose consulting firm, then click on OK. Now here, I run this module by pasting our pulse ID that we copied from our webhook, and then click on OK. And you can see we're getting the rest of their data. So here we're getting their first name, last name, company name, their email, and their phone number. With the client's data, we can set up team notifications on Slack that we're going to send to our team after we change the status of one of our clients to team notifications. So here, I'll search for Slack and click on Slack and then click on create a message. You'll need to create a connection between Slack and Make. So click on add. Then for the connection type, you can just choose Slack user and then rename your connection right here and click on save. And a new window will be prompted where you'll choose a specific account that you would like to link to Make. Since I had already created a connection, I'm going to just close it and choose my connection right here. Now, I'm going to enter our channel from a list. The channel type, I'm going to choose public channel. And then here, I'll choose the channel with my team members. In this case, I'm going to choose Lux as our channel. Now, if this is a new team, we're going to start by creating a channel and then inviting your team members to join your Slack channel. But I'm going to assume that since you have a consulting firm, you have a Slack channel that you're using to communicate with your team. So all you have to do is just choose the channel, then type in the text or the notification that you'd like to send to your team after you've closed the client. Now, I'll rename the Slack channel to new client notification. So I'd like to notify our team after we have closed the new client. And the message that we are sending our team could be on the lines of, hey team, exciting news. We've just onboarded a new client. And then here we can add the client's first name, from, and then we can add their company name right here. And then we can say the project is focused on automating their sales pipeline and client management systems. I'll be sharing more details shortly, but feel free to check out the project folder in Google Drive to get familiar with the scope. Let's give them a warm welcome and make sure this is a smooth process from the start. And then here, I'll click on OK. Now we can choose to duplicate these messages and say we're going to send, let's say, 4 notifications to our team. So I'll clone our messages into 4 Slack message notifications. I'll go ahead and rename our modules and set up the messages right here. So I've gone ahead and created 3 more notifications that we're going to send to our team after we've closed a new client. So the second notification that we're going to send to our team is a project kickoff notification, where we're going to send our team this message right here. The message could be on the lines of, hi everyone, time to kick things off. We're ready to begin work on the client's company names project. I'll schedule a kickoff call with the client for Monday, October 23rd at 10 a.m. After that, we'll finalize the initial plan and assign tasks. Here's what we'll focus on the first phase. So number 1, we'll be mapping out the sales pipeline. And number 2, we're going to set up the CRM integration. And then number 3, we're going to develop a client management automation. Check out the Slack channel, Packer project for updates. Let's make this a success. So this could be the second notification that we're going to send to our team. The third notification is assigning initial tasks notification. And then the text that we're going to send to our team could be on the lines of, all right, team, we're all set to begin the first phase of the client's project. Here's the breakdown. Sarah, you'll handle mapping the sales pipeline. Mike, you'll be leading the CRM integration. Rachel, you can take care of the client management automation setup. Everything is in the project folder. Let's touch base on Thursday, October 26th for a quick progress check. Any questions, drop them here. So this could be the message that we're sending to our team, assigning initial tasks. And lastly, we can send a project update and next step notification to our team. So the message could be on the lines of, great progress so far, team. We've just finished mapping out the sales pipeline on our client's project. Next up is complete CRM integration testing, begin automating client onboarding. And number 3, we're going to set up reporting dashboards. I've updated the project timeline in Google Drive. So let's aim to complete this by Friday, October 27th. Keep up with the awesome work. And then here I'll click on OK. You can choose to add more notifications right here, but I'm going to just use this for as our example. The last thing we can do here is we're going to set up a filter to avoid these messages from being sent at all of them at once. We can set up a filter and label it as 1 day. And here we can say the date should equal to, and then on date and time, I'm going to add days. Here, I'm going to add the now variable. And then here we're going to wait 1 day after our webhook was triggered. For this one, we can choose to wait 2 days. Then we can set the condition to be date should equal to add days, and then here we can add the now variable, and then we can wait for 2 days to send the assigning initial tasks notification. And here, lastly, we can wait 3 days. And the condition for these, you can say date should equal add days, and then here you can add now. And you can say 3 days after our webhook was triggered. To test if automation works, I'll run an automation. Then on Monday, I'll change the status of one of our clients to team notification. You can see that it ran successfully right here. We triggered our webhook after we changed the status of one of our clients to team notification. Then we're getting the client's data right here. Then we're notifying our team with this message right here that we just onboarded a new client and what the project is about. So with this simple automation on Make, automated the team notification process for a consulting firm. Now, the next process that we're going to automate is a progress tracking process. We're going to create an automation that automates the progress updates and reports to keep clients informed about the project status and send reminders for upcoming deadlines. On our consulting firm automation system folder, I'll create a new scenario. I'll rename our scenario to progress tracking automation. On Monday, I have kickoff updates, mid-phase updates, completed and final updates as status on each of our clients. Depending on which stage the project is at, we're going to notify our client via email by changing the status of the client to either kickoff update, mid-phase update, completed, or final update. So if the project has been completed, we're going to notify the client that the project has been completed via email by changing the status of the client to completed. Here, on Monday, I'm going to watch boards column values. And then here, I'll create a webhook that watches the status change on each of our clients. So here, I'll create a webhook. And then here, I'll choose our connection. And then here, I'll rename our webhook to project tracking. And then here, I'll choose our board ID. Our board ID is going to be consulting firm. For the update type, I'm going to choose item specific column value update. And then for the column ID, I'm going to choose status, and then click on save. So this webhook will watch the change of the status in any of our clients. So click on OK. Now to test if our webhook works correctly, I'll run our webhook. And then here, I'll change the status on any of our clients to like send a proposal. You can see right here, it got the specific client who we changed their status. Like on other webhooks, we're only getting the name of the client, but we're not getting the rest of the information like their first name, last name, email, or phone number. To get the rest of their data, I'll copy this pulse ID. And then on Monday, I'm going to search for get an item module. For the ID, I'm going to add the pulse ID. And then for the board ID, I'm going to add consulting firm. Then click on OK. To get the rest of the data for this client, I'll copy this pulse ID. Then on Monday, I'll run this module by pasting our pulse ID over here and clicking on OK. Now here, you can see that we're getting the rest of the data over here. So we're getting their first name, last name, company name, their email, and their phone number. Now, since we're going to send 4 updates to our client, the kickoff update, the mid-phase update, the completed update, and the final updates, here, I'll add another module and search for flow control. Then here, I'll click on router, and then I'll add 4 routes. Here, we're going to send email notifications. I'll search for email and click on send an email module. So here, I'll rename this email to initial project kickoff update. Now, for the second email, I'll rename this email to mid-project update. And then for the third email, I'm going to click on email and then click on send an email. And I'll rename this email to completed. And then click on OK. And then lastly, here, I'm going to search for email and click on send an email. And here, I'll rename this email to final update right here. Now, for the initial project kickoff update email, we're going to add the email address from Monday. This email address right here. And the subject line of the email could be on the lines of Paka Marketing Agency project, kickoff completed, and next steps. And then the content of the email can say, hi, first name. I wanted to provide you with a quick update on the Paka Marketing Agency project. We successfully completed the kickoff call with John and his team, and everything went smoothly. Here's what we covered so far. Number 1, clarified project goals and deliverables. 2, we set initial timelines for the sales pipeline automation. Number 3, we established the communication workflow via Slack and Google Drive. Now here we're also outlining the next steps. We were saying Sarah is leading the sales pipeline mapping And then Mike will begin the CRM integration setup, which is working on automating the client management system. And then we're concluding the email by saying we're on track to hit all initial deadlines, and I'll keep you updated on our progress. Best regards, Jane. So this could be the initial project kickoff updates that we're sending to our client. Now for the mid-project update, we'll add the email address from Monday right here. So this email will add it right here. And then the subject line could be in the lines of Packer Marketing Agency Project Mid-Phase Progress Report. And then for the content of the email, we're saying, hi, first name. Here's the latest update on the Packer Marketing Agency project. As we approach the midpoint of phase 1, the first update is the sales pipeline mapping. We're saying completed ahead of schedule, ready for client review. And then the second update is the CRM integration, where we are telling them it's 75% done. We're telling them Mike has resolved initial data syncing issues and is finalizing user training materials. And the third update we are sending to our client is the client management automation. We're saying Rachel has built out the onboarding process, and we are currently testing it internally. And then we're also updating them on upcoming milestones, where we're updating them on the finalizing of the CRM integration, which will begin testing on a specific date. We're also updating them the completed internal testing for client management automation. And then we're concluding the email by saying we are making great progress and should be ready for client review session soon. Everything is moving according to plan. Best regards, Jane. And then for the completed email, we are adding the email address from Monday. And then the subject line of the email, we can say Packer Marketing Agency Project, phase 1 completed. For the rest of the email, we're saying, hi, first name. I'm happy to report that we have successfully completed phase 1 of the Packer Marketing Agency project. Here's a summary of what we have accomplished. Number 1 is the sales pipeline automation, where we're telling them it's fully mapped and automated. And then the second update is the CRM integration. We're saying it's successfully completed and tested. And the third update is the client management system, where we're saying initial automation setup done. And we're also telling them the next steps, where we are saying the first step is to gather client feedback on the sales pipeline and CRM on a specific date. And then the second step is to start phase 2, which is the onboarding automation and reporting dashboard. And then we're concluding the email by saying, let me know if you'd like to schedule a call to go over these results in more details. Best regards, Jane. Now for the final update, we're adding our email from our data item module right here. And the subject line of the email could be on the lines of Packer Marketing Agency Project, final update and completion. Then for the content of the email, we're saying, hi, first name. I'm pleased to inform you that we've reached the final stage of the Packer Marketing Agency project and everything is successfully completed. Here's a quick breakdown of the key outcomes. Number 1 is the sales pipeline automation. We're saying it's fully implemented and it's now live. For the CRM integration, we're saying it's running smoothly with the client's team fully trained and operational. The third update is the client management automation. We're saying it's live and streamlining your onboarding process. Then we're concluding the email by saying I'll be putting together a detailed final report for you, but feel free to reach out if you'd like to go over any specifics now. Best regards, Jane. The last thing that we'll do here is to set up a filter to ensure that each email goes out after we've changed a specific status on one of our clients. So here I'll set up a filter, and the first one I'll label it as kickoff update. And then for the condition here, I'll say that the status text should equal to kickoff update. So these data right here. The next one will be mid-phase update. So here I'll set up a filter and label it as mid-project update. And then here for the condition, I'll say status text should equal to mid-phase update. Then click on OK. For the completed email, I'll label it as completed. The condition will say the status text will be equal to completed, and click on OK. And then for the final update, here we'll label it as final update. And then for the condition, we're going to say the status text should be equal to final update. And then click on OK. Let us test if automation is working perfectly. Now here, I'll run our automation. Now to send the initial project kickoff update, I'll change the status of one of our clients to kickoff updates. You can see right here, we trigger the automation after we change the status of one of our clients to kickoff updates, and now we send them the initial project kickoff update email here. And this is the content of the email that we are sending to our client. Now let us send the mid-project email updates. I'll run automation. Then on Monday, I'll change the status of one of our clients to mid-phase updates. And you can see now we send the mid-project updates to one of our clients with the subject line, and this is the content of the email that we're sending to our client. Now let us send the completed email update. So I'll run automation. Then on Monday, I'll change the status of one of our clients to completed. And here you can see we send the client a completed update email, the subject line, and this content on our email. Now let us send the final update email to our client. So I'll run our automation. And then on Monday, I'll change the status of one of our clients to final updates. So you can see that it ran successfully, and we send the final update email to our client with the subject line and the content on our email. So this is an automation that we have set up on Make to update our client on each stage the project is at. So with this simple automation, we've automated the progress tracking process for a consulting firm. The next process that we're going to automate is the content scheduling process, where we're going to automate the scheduling of social media posts, ensuring a consistent online presence. Now, to automate the content scheduling process, on our consulting firm automation system folder, I'll create a new scenario, and then here I'll rename our scenario to content scheduling on social media platforms. So here I'm going to search for a Google Drive. Here we're going to watch files in a folder. We're going to source all the images and videos that you'd like to post on social media from a Google Drive folder. So here we can choose the folder. In our case, you can say gallery is a folder that we like to watch. Then you can add the limits here. You can choose all types of files, and then here I'll click on OK. Here I'll choose an image that is on this folder. Now let us see if we're going to get this image. Now here you can see that we're getting our image right here. So we're going to try and post this image on social media. So here on Google Drive, I'm going to create a shareable link. So I'll click on get a share link module. For the file ID, we're going to add our file ID right here. And then for the role, you can either choose reader, owner, writer, or commenter. But I'm going to choose reader, anyone with the link. And then click on OK. Now, let us run this automation and see if we're going to create the shareable link. So I'll run it. Now you can see that we've created the shareable link of our image right here. Now, the next thing we're going to do here, we're going to get the file using the HTTP module. So here I'll click on get a file module and add the URL right here. You can choose to start from the image on our folder, which is this image right here, and click on OK. And then let us see if we're going to get the file right here. So here you can see we are getting a status code S200 and a very huge file size right here. So that means that we're getting more file. Now with our file right here, we can proceed and post it on social media platforms. So here, I'll click on flow control, then click on router. I like to post our image or videos on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Twitter. So here, I'll search for Facebook. And click on Facebook page. Then here, I'll create a post with photos right here. And I'll do the same for Instagram. So I'll search for Instagram and click on Instagram business. Then here, I'll create a photo post. I'll do the same with LinkedIn. So I'll search for LinkedIn. Then here, I'll create a user image post. Then here, I'll search for Twitter. Then here, I'll go to the previous version and click on upload a media. Here, we'll add our attachment. Our attachment, we're going to add it from the get a file module over here. Click on OK. Then here, we're now going to create a post. Now, after connecting our social media accounts on Make, we can choose to schedule our posts instead of just directly posting them. Now, to schedule our posts, I'll use this tool called Vista Social to schedule our posts on social media. Visa Social is an incredible tool that you can use to schedule new posts to a specific social media platform. So I'll use this tool to schedule our posts, and then we can clone this module and do it for the rest of the other platforms. And all you have to do is just create an account on Vista Social, then connect Vista Social to Make, and then now you can connect all your social medias on Vista Social to schedule the posts on the specific social media platform. So this is the easiest part, connecting your accounts to Make, connecting your accounts to Vista Social. But if you find this part challenging, just comment down below and I'll send you the blueprint, or I can also guide you on how you can connect your accounts to Make.com or your accounts to Vista Social. So with this simple automation, we have automated the content scheduling process for a consulting firm. The last process that we're going to automate for a consulting firm is a client offboarding process. We're going to create an automation that sends an automated email after the project has been completed to check in with the clients and send the project wrap-up document, the closing call link, and the final billing invoice. Now, to automate the client offboarding process, on our consulting firm automation system folder, I'll create a new scenario. I'll rename our scenario to client offboarding system. I'll create a webhook that will be triggered after the status of one of our clients changes to client offboarding. So here, I'm going to search for webhooks and click on custom webhook. Here, I'll click on add and then rename our webhook to client offboarding. And then here I'll click on save. And then I'll copy the link of our webhook and click on OK. And then on Monday, I'll click on integrate. I'll click on webhooks. I like to send a webhook after the status of one of our clients changes to something. So I'll use this as our template. And then here I'll use another account and paste the URL that we just copied from our webhook right here. Here, I'll run our webhook. On Monday, I'll click on connect. In order to connect our webhook URL, we'll need to return this challenge text right here using a webhook response. I'll add another module. Then on webhook, I'll click on webhook response. And here, I'll have to call it braces and write challenge right here. And click on challenge text and click on OK. I'll run our webhook again. Then on Monday, I'll click on connect. You can see it runs successfully. So here, I'll delete our response. And then on Monday, we can now create a webhook. So I'd like to send a webhook when the status of one of our clients changes to client offboarding. And then here I'll click on create automation. And now let us test if our webhook works properly. So I'll run our webhook. And then on Monday, I'll change the status of one of our clients to client offboarding. And you can see that it runs successfully right here. And we're getting the specific client whose status we just changed. But we're only getting their name. We're not getting the information like their first name, last name, email, phone number, or the company they work in. Now, to get the rest of their information, I'll copy this pulse ID. And then on Monday, I'll search for get an item module. Click on get an item. Here I'll choose our connection. Then for the ID, I'm going to add the pulse ID. Then for the board ID, I'm going to choose consulting firm. Then click on OK. Now, let us run this module by pasting the pulse ID we copied from our webhook right here. And then click on OK. Now you can see here, so we're getting their first name, last name, company name, email, and their phone number over here. We can begin creating our client offboarding system. Now, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to send our client a survey form that we just created on Typeform. So on Typeform, I've created this form called client offboarding survey form. This is a form that we're going to send to our client where they will fill in the form telling us if they were satisfied with our services. On this form, we're asking them a series of questions to get feedback on our services. So the first question that we're asking them is, how satisfied are you with our services? And then here they can rate us from 0 to 10. The second question that we're asking them is, how likely are you to recommend our services to others? And then they can rate us from 0 to 10 right here. The third question that we're asking them is, how well did we communicate throughout the project? And then they can type in the answer over here. The fourth question that we're asking them is there anything else you would like to share about your experience with our services? And then here they will type in the answer. And lastly, we're asking them, do you have any suggestions for improving our services? And then they can type in the answers over here. On Make, we're going to get this form. To get the form, I'll click on Share. And on our link, I'm going to copy the unique ID of this form. The unique ID of the form is the last part on our link. So I'll copy it. And then on Make, I'm going to search for type form. Then click on Get a Form module. I'll choose our connection and then paste the ID that we just copied over here and click on OK. So we can run this module and see if we're going to get our form. You can see we're getting our client's offboarding survey form right here. And the link that we're going to send to our client is this link right here. I'll rename this to client's survey form and then click on OK. Now, besides the survey form, we can also send our client a project wrap-up document. On PandaDoc, I've created a project wrap-up document. The project wrap-up document contains an overview of the project, deliverables, summary, project outcomes, next step, final sign-off and transition, final words, and sign-off, where we'll add our signature, and the client can add their signature right here. To send the client this document, on automation, here, I'll search for PandaDoc, and then I'll get a document. Here, we'll need to add the ID of our document. To get the ID of this document, we're going to get the ID of our document from our URL. So on our URL right here, we are going to copy the last part of our URL. This is a unique ID of this document. So all you have to do is just copy this ID. And then on Make, I'll paste the ID right here and click on OK. We can run this module and see if we're going to get our document. You can see now we're getting our project wrap-up document right here. I'll rename this module to project wrap-up doc and then click on OK. The next thing we're going to do, we're going to download this document. So I'll click on download a document module. Then I'll add the ID of this document. I'll rename our module to download project wrap-up doc. So besides the survey form and the project wrap-up document, we can also send our client the final billing invoice. I'll use Stripe as our payment provider. So on Stripe, we can search for our client using the search customer module. So here for the email, I'm going to search our customer using the email, where we are going to get their email address from Monday right here. Then I'll limit it to 1, then click on OK. And then the next thing we're going to do on Stripe, we're going to create a payment intent. And then for the amount, here we can add the amount. For example, let's say $2,000. Can add the currency as USD. Can add the description, consulting services, then the recipient email right here. Can also add the customer ID over here. Choose the payment method, add the shipping address, and this other information, then click on OK. Now I can proceed to create an invoice. So I'll click on create an invoice. Here we can add customer ID from the search customer module. Choose the collection method. Somewhere we can say charge automatically. Description can say consulting services. And then click on OK. So this will be, I'll rename it to final billing invoice. And then click on OK. So we can also send our client a link for them to schedule for a closing call or a final call. So here, search for Calendly and click on Calendly. And here I'll click on create a scheduling link. And then for the maximum event, I'll say 1. And then for the event type, I'll say closing call. Then click on OK. So here I'll rename this to schedule a closing call. Then click on OK. Now we can send our client the survey form, the project wrap-up document, the final invoice, and the closing call link via email. So here, I'll search for email, then click on send an email module. I'll rename this email to offboarding email, then click on OK. Now, for email address, we're going to get our email address from our get an item module. So I'll add our email address right here. And then the subject line of our email Could be in the lines of wrap up of our engagement, final steps and feedback requests. And then the content of our email could be in the lines of their first name. You can add their first name. And then we can say, as we come to an end of our project, I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to work together. It's been a pleasure collaborating with you and your team. To wrap up our engagement, please find the following key details. And the first detail is a client satisfaction survey, where we're telling them your feedback is invaluable to us. We'd greatly appreciate if you could take a few minutes to complete this brief survey. Your insights will help us improve and continue to deliver the best possible service. So here we'll add the survey link from our type form. So our survey link will be this link right here. Then the second document that we're sending them is a project wrap-up document. We're saying attached is a comprehensive summary of the work we've completed together, including all final deliverables. Should you have any questions or require further clarifications, feel free to reach out. And here we are adding our project wrap-up document, which will be this document after we've downloaded it using the downloaded document module. We're also asking them to schedule a follow-up call where we're telling them, I'd like to stay in touch and check in on how things progress. Please use this link to schedule for a follow-up call at your convenience in the next few months. So this could be a follow-up call or a closing call. Then we're adding this Calendly link right here for them to book a time on our calendar. The last document we're sending them is the invoice for the final billing. We're telling them attached is a final invoice for engagement. Please feel free to review, and if you have any questions, I'm happy to discuss. The due date for this invoice is, and then here we can add the due dates from our invoice module. You can also add the invoice link right here, which will be this link over here. We're concluding the email by saying, once again, thank you for trusting us with this project. Should any further need arise, I'll be more than happy to assist you again in the future. Please do not hesitate to get in touch anytime. Looking forward to hearing from you soon and wishing you all the best. Best regards, Jane. And then click on OK. Let us test our client offboarding automation and see if it will run successfully. So here, I'll run automation. And then on Monday, you can change the status of one of our client offboarding. Here you can see that we triggered our webhook after we changed the status of one of our clients to client offboarding. Then we got their data right here. And we got our survey form, our project wrap-up document, and we downloaded it. Then we created our final billing invoice and the closing call scheduling link right here. And now on this email, we are sending our client the survey form, the project wrap-up document, the final billing invoice, and closing call link right here. So we are sending all these documents to our client via this offboarding email right here. With this simple automation, we have automated the client offboarding process for a consulting firm. These are all the processes that we are automating for a consulting firm. The first automation that we are creating, we are automating the process of collecting leads via Typeform and adding the leads to Monday.com and sending them the confirmation email. The second process that we're automating is a client onboarding process, where in this automation, we are creating a client's folder that they're going to add all the necessary documents. We're creating a scheduling link to schedule a kickoff call. And we're also creating a Slack channel that we're going to use for communication. And then we are sending the client's folder link and the scheduling link via this onboarding email. The third process that we're automating is the invoicing and payment process, where we are creating a client on Stripe and creating a payment intent and creating an invoice and sending to our client and sending the invoice to our client via this invoice email. We're also sending a payment reminder email one day after the due date has passed. And the fourth process that we're automating for a consulting firm is the creation and sending of a proposal and contract. We are creating a proposal and contract on PandaDoc. And then on this automation, we're getting the proposal and the contract and sending the proposal and contract to our client via this email right here. Fifth process that we're automating for a consulting firm is the team notification process, where here we are creating this team notification automation to notify our team of a new client and the scope of the new project. The sixth process that we're automating for a consulting firm is the progress tracking process, where here we are creating this automation to notify our client which stage the project is at. And the seventh process that we're automating for a consulting firm is the content scheduling on social media platforms process. We are watching for files on a particular folder on Google Drive. And then we are creating the share link for the files and getting the files via this HTTP module and posting the files on social media right here. Now, to schedule the social media, we're using Vista Social to schedule the social media posts on each social media platform. And the last process that we're automating for a client, for a consulting firm, is a client onboarding process. Now, on this automation, we are sending our client a client survey form, a project wrap-up document, a final billing invoice, and a link to schedule for a closing call via this onboarding email right here. These are all the automations that we just created, automating all the processes for consulting firm. Now, if you have an automation or a system in mind that you'd like for me to create, just comment down below in the comment section. I read all the comments, and if I land on your comment and I find it intriguing, I'll come back on a future video showing you how to set up the entire automation or system from scratch. But for now, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.